Hello, everybody. This is our new episode of Between Two Teachers, and I'm Consuelo Lara.
I'm Madeline Kronenberg.
And so let me tell you about the highlight of my week. I went to Sacramento, and there is a new bill, Assembly Bill 221, and it's prohibiting TFAs, Teach for America, program to be in districts of low performing students. And this is, very important to those students the students that need the most experienced teachers and the most well-trained teachers, that they get what they need and not somebody fresh out of school who's only going to be there for a while, hasn't had much training, certainly no experience. And you're setting up those students to continue to be low performing. You're setting them up for failure. So it was great to go up there and see all the research. It was organized by Dr. Julian Vasquez
Heilig.
And I got to meet Cristina Garcia. It's her bill. But also they had a panel of researchers, and the research pretty much says that it's true. It's not effective. It's not helpful. And there was a part of the research that said, who does it benefit? It only benefits the TFA teacher who gets to put that on their resume and check that off. So really, is it benefiting our low performing students? So this bill is very important. And my question to her was, what do you need to get this passed? And Assembly member Garcia said, personal stories would be good about your experiences with TFA, especially, if you were a participant in it, those are the kinds of things that she would like to see and to hear from people about. So, that was great. Experience to be there and to see how they discussed it and supported it with research.
It really makes so much sense, because there is no high performing district. I mean, we could look at our high performing districts in California. You've got Piedmont, you've got Palo Alto. I always go to them because, in fact, they're not looking to expand or even introduce Teach for America into that. It would be the last thing on their minds. Let us bring in a core of inexperienced teachers to replace our experienced teachers. It makes no sense, right? So this, as I understand it, this doesn't eliminate Teach for America. It just simply says that if these young, inexperienced teachers want to begin what we would hope would be a long career in the classroom, their career should begin with students who don't suffer from the results of poverty. It should be that they are in places where they can be overseen by more experienced teachers and be with higher income children, because that's the main point here. It's not to eliminate Teach for America. It's to say they should be kept away from the more vulnerable children, and children who need more support should have experienced teachers, exclusively, to the extent that we can do anything to prescribe that. That's essentially what this legislation would do. Because right now, the way it's set up is that the assumption is that they're going to work in high poverty schools, which is not. They should work in high wealth schools, if anything, and learn. With the idea is that they learn to become better teachers, rather than the idea being they learn to become a TFA alum who then goes into some other end of leadership in education, either in the education management world or the nonprofit world or the administrative world, or outside of education altogether in the legal or finance world, which tends to be the places that many of the TFA alums are given additional support to wind up in, right? They're able to go to work in hedge funds and law firms and in large accounting firms once they go on to graduate school and use their classroom experience as a resume builder.
Absolutely. And our goal needs to be to have high quality core, main core, teachers in the classroom for those students. The high quality, like National Board Certified teachers.
Exactly.
Those are the quality of teachers we need. And gosh, just think, Board Certified, TFA, wow, what a big difference. It's
huge,
like, oh my
an
goodness.
unbelievable difference, right? So, I mean, honestly, I have always maintained that the thing that would be the most helpful is if Teach for America provided additional folks for the classroom, basically to be an aide for 2 years, right, under an experienced teacher. That would be useful rather than leaving them to, and it would also change the unfortunate huge amount of churn and turnover, because we're not setting our young TFA core members up for success. There is no way we're setting them up for success. We're setting them up to believe that they're going into a war zone, and with a mentality that things are going to be very difficult. Whereas that's not what teaching is about. Teaching, you should go into teaching because of the joy it's going to bring to you and the joy you're going to be able to bring to your students. And it's hard to see that as part of the formula that TFA has developed into.
Reminds me very much of those movies, the Great White Hope teacher movies, or they go in, they save the children, poor children of color. And, it's just not a good look at all. And I wonder if TFA, well, I know it's actually a business model. It's because you got to pay to have the TFAs come.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just thinking that the business model must be that they have to go to low performing areas, because that's where you're going to have the greatest need. And so then you can, make more money there. I'm like I said, I kind of think in that way that that's basically what it's about. But
so we've made our children into commodities.
Yeah. So this bill really needs to pass, and like I said, I'm sure TFA understands, that if we had high quality core teachers in all of our districts, that they would just, go somewhere else and make money somewhere else, But that's something that we're really looking forward to passing. And also here we're pushing, we still have that vision of our teacher academy and moving along, and hopefully it's going to happen at El Cerrito, maybe another school in the district. So we have our homegrown teachers that come back and teach in this district. And we're very excited about that, pushing it along and keeping an eye on it, and we're going to be following that process.
That is very exciting. And so both of those things together mean that our students are going to be able to have the most experienced, caring people possible in the classrooms, which is why this bill 221 is the most supportive thing we can do for our low-income children in California. And it really should be something, and I would hope that at some point TFA would recognize that that there's value to this, that what they should want to do is not displace somebody who is more experienced with somebody who is less experienced. It doesn't make sense. And I think at this point in their 20-year history, the research shows that what logic would dictate is in fact true.
Yeah, absolutely. And there is just mounting research. It just continues. I was so surprised that at that committee hearing, it was, he spread it all out. There was a lot of research that supports it, so it's hard to not see that this is a step we need to take, for sure.
It is. So the next step is, the bill is going to be heard soon, right?
March the 27th. Yes.
Okay, March
yes.
27th, and so we all need to pay attention to that. But in between now and then, people can write to their legislators and they can show support. And what about the board? Do you think the board will support AB 221?
That's exactly what I wanted to do, was to make a proposal, a resolution, because this was part of our moratorium. The first line of the moratorium was to support legislation that would, affect the charters. And here's one. So we should, as a board, officially support this bill 221. So I propose to bring that, and we will vote on it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. I mean, I think it's a very fair conversation for us to have. I'm not sure that any other school boards have elevated it to a board discussion, but it makes sense to do it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Because as you look at your own board members are the ones who set policies within their own organizations, and one thing about this policy is it shouldn't be hard to set a policy saying you want your most vulnerable children to have your strongest teachers.
Exactly. And so we're going to put that forward. Hopefully we'll have a lot of people come forward and support it and tell the board what they think about it and how they feel about it. And so I'm looking forward to doing that. And there's other bills too on the way.
And this one is supported by the NAACP.
Oh, that's right.
Because
Yes.
Dr. Heilig, of course, is deeply involved in the NAACP, and he certainly got them to support this. And he has been involved in critiquing Teach for America for some time. I'll link to his podcast in our information down. It's called Truth for America is the name of his podcast,
Wow.
where he has for a number of years basically seriously analyzed Teach for America and the fact that he feels that it undermines the purpose that it sets as its goal.
Oh, I was overhearing somebody say, "Oh, I follow your blog," and they
Yes.
were talking about it, and I said, "Blog."
Cloaking Inequity
that must
is the
be
name
it.
of his
Oh, good.
blog. I'll link to that, Cloaking
Yeah.
Inequity, and to his podcast, Truth for America.
Cool.
All right, he is certainly the leader. So I'm so glad you got to meet him.
Yeah.
And hopefully they haven't posted the hearing that you went to yet, or I guess was it a hearing or was it a workshop?
It was. It talked more like a. It wasn't really a hearing. It was just this discussion and about the literature, because many of the authors of the literature were up there. Well, they were part of the panel. So that's what it was. It was a research discussion.
So this hasn't been posted yet, but as soon as it is, I will add it to the as a link in our description to this episode as well, because I think it's really worthwhile for everybody who's interested in this to be able to watch it, and then also to pay attention on March 27th, when you can also watch the hearing, because the hearing will be broadcast probably on the Cal channel.
And he did say that he would put it. It would be on because he's an instructor at Sacramento State. That it would be there in the EDD education department website. So that's another place to look for it. So hopefully, we'll see it there. And then, in addition to that, we want to support other charter-specific bills as well. So.
Right, the ones we spoke about last week, right? I don't know, last episode. Those are the ones that Ms. Skinner is behind.
1500s, you call them.
Yes, 1506, 07, 08, and 09. Those are the four, the group of four, and they deal with transparency and location and having a charter.
The impact, the financial impact.
Financial, academic, and facilities impact.
And the facilities impact. And all of those directly affect us here in West Contra Costa. I mean, the minute they go into effect, we can make some real changes.
That's right.
And it'll affect, next school year, in fact, if they can pass those soon. Although they don't go into effect till January.
Unless there's something in there that gives them something earlier. So I don't know. I mean, so those bills are now, they're moving through committee, they're getting amendments, people are all talking about it. Certainly CCSA, the state charter school organization, had their big annual meeting this week, and they consider these bills poison to their movement. So what Ms.
Well, as a matter of
Cristina
fact,
said.
when I got there were all these buses, and there was all this noise, and I said, oh my goodness, a demonstration, you know. And as I looked closer, they all had these groups with matching t-shirts, and it was very elaborate and very well done, and a big screen, and they were all charter people.
Yeah, so it was very orchestrated. Arnie Duncan was there. They were gonna put that up as well, but it turned out Facebook was having trouble with Facebook Live that day, so they put it up out on Twitter. I got to watch a little bit of it, but it was basically just them all marching to the Capitol.
Yeah, yeah. So they're going to be there fighting.
And they're actively opposing these bills. They're doing everything they can to oppose them.
Yeah, absolutely. So please support them and show they got money power, but we got people power, and we're on the right side. So let's see everybody participate and support.
The one other shout out I wanted to give this week was to the Bayside PTSA Council. I went to an event the other night at El Cerrito High. A documentary was shown on the movie called The S Word, and the S Word is suicide. And it was there were a number of students there, and parents, as well as different providers. And one of the things that was really clear is how important the issue has grown over the years, and our students and our faculty need to be aware of what's going on in the minds of our families, our children and their families. And fortunately, each of our high schools and our secondary schools have health centers where people can go, but we need to just all be aware of the fact that they do. And at El Cerrito High in particular, JMP was there to talk about what they've noticed over the years is the increase in children who are making the attempt or talking about it. And we all just want to be conscious of that and conscious of what the opportunities are in terms of responding helpfully. So there was also a panel discussion after that, and the documentaries, Ms. Reckler shared with me that the Bayside PTSA owns the documentary, and she's going to make it available to all of our high schools or secondary schools, and anybody who wants to see it can check in with her, and she'll hold an event and share it with anybody who wants her to.
And every teacher should see it, you know, because they're the ones that see the students.
Exactly.
The most
And when you
each
notice
day.
it, when you notice something,
Yeah.
you want to know how to reach out, and you want to know what's available to you.
Yeah, sounds very, very informative.
So next week, there'll be an opportunity for you to bring in some more resolutions, Ms. Laura.
Oh yes, that's right. I have a lot of them cooking. We want to do an arts in equity in the arts resolution. Something very important. We're going to get a lot of input, a lot of stakeholders, the community, as well as the art, music, and dance teachers input. So it's going to be very exciting. We want to put something together to increase art in our district and the access to art. And we all know how healing and how much it's related also to intelligence, art skills are, and there's just all kinds of things. And the talent that our students have in this district is amazing. So that's one. And then a couple that are around nutrition and around the environment, possibly banning plastic water bottles, and also having salad bars in the schools. And that's happened off and on in different schools. So yeah, you can look forward to those. Thank you.
The climate change ones, I mean, really, that's really also connected to climate change. And like I believe today was a day that nationally and maybe even internationally, there were students around the country. I don't know if anyone in our district really participated, but there were students walking out in support of climate change, and that's a really important issue to all of our families, and so it's time to start to take positions on it.
Yeah, and see what we can do as a district and have our students hope the students will really be involved in that too. So,
Right.
yeah. That's it for this week.
That's it for this week. We'll see you next week.
Bye.